Good afternoon, dear professor. Today I would like to introduce you as Professor Peter van Mensch, who is one of the leading museologists in Europe, or maybe even in the world. In 2013, you were the head of Vilnius University, Faculty of Communication, Department of Museology. So today I would like to talk with you about new trends in museology, digital technology impact on museums, and also other important questions. But first of all, Professor, how are you?
I'm fine, perfect. Yeah. Still a little bit regretting that I'm not longer working in Vilnius.
As you mentioned in your book called New Trends in Museology, the third museum revolution took place around year 2000, and this new paradigm is still in a formation process, and for you the key word is participation. So how can museums attract especially young people to participate, to visit museums?
Well, participation has different components. One component is that people, and you were referring to young people in particular, that they are participating in museum activities, being visitor or users of what the museums offer. The other dimension of participation is that people, young people, are actively engaged in decision-making processes. 20 years ago, participation was just the first thing, to encourage people to visit museums, to take part in educational programs. Now, the present rhetoric is participation as taking part of decision-making processes. In both cases, young people are a problem in the sense that museums are still struggling with ways how to encourage young people either to visit museums or to be actively involved. And I think it has very much to do with a matter of approach and language. Maybe not so much the theme itself, because young people can be interested in a wide variety of themes, but it's the way how do you address them? What sort of language do you use? Can you make a connection with their daily lives?
So let's extend the participatory concept into the ethical dimension of the museum work. Who should decide about what objects should be preserved? The museum or the museum together with the participating society?
Yeah, I think it is a process, and it's not either this or that. In the end, it's the museum with its responsibility to make a final decision. Yeah? But in the process, I think communities, non-expert people could or should be involved as much as possible. But the final decision, I think, is still the decision of the curator or the museum.
Can we say that digital technologies help museums to look more attractive and be more interesting for people who are frequent users of digital technologies?
Yeah, perhaps the last more than the first. I think museums can become more interesting, more useful as a tool if we speak about information, sharing information. The other, to be more attractive, I think it's not necessary to have digital technologies. Basically, the specificity of the museum attraction is in the authentic objects. So, of course, you can enhance this experience by digital technology, but that, in my opinion, my personal opinion, that should not be the focus. The focus is the object as such, and the media could be used for additional information.
Vilnius University Faculty of Communication Department of Museology is establishing a new international study program associated with the museology, digitization of heritage. In your opinion, is this study program is a necessity for such small countries as Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia?
In general, I think not just in this part of the world, but also in a wider geographical context, there is a need for such a specialist course. There are already many courses in the field of museology and heritage studies, general courses. So maybe I think there is no need to have another general course, but a more specific course targeted on some of the developments we just discussed, I think is very, very helpful, because it gives a focus and it organizes expertise and experience on that particular field. And so it will not just help people in developing professional expertise in that direction, but it may also, on a sort of higher abstraction level, help to have a better understanding of what digital media can mean for museums in general.
So, what are your nearest future plans?
My future plans are deepening sort of very theoretical understanding of museums and sitting together with small groups of people, reading books and discussing in a sort of, isolated sort of context around the open fire, and really deepen this understanding, always in the general perspective of what can be useful for museums. But I think there is still a need to go very into depth, very deep understanding of what heritage means in our society and what role museums can play in understanding heritage and making heritage more effective.
So thank you for your interview, and I wish you success in your nearest work.
Thank you very much.